get the impression it was with ITV that made them go, that's what we're going to do. We're going to bring on an apprentice. And what is it with what do you find about ITV that makes that actually a success?
So I think with ITV, probably the reason, I mean, I've spoken to people about this sort of internally, and the reason that they wanted to do it is that, one, it was brand new, and ITV, you know, forward thinking, they're always sort of looking at new ways to innovate and things like that. So I think the head of department at the time, who played a huge role in sort of my first couple of years as an apprentice and helping me through and giving me guidance, he was a real sort of pioneer for the apprenticeships, and he was all over it and really passionate about it. And I think that came across both in the assessment days and the interviews I had with him. And that attracted me to ITV because I knew that they would be really on board and they weren't just doing it as a box ticking exercise or just because they felt they should, like they genuinely thought this would be a great thing to do. And that's kind of, I haven't changed my mind on that the whole way through. Like everyone I've met has been so supportive, and if they didn't know, they wanted to know what I was doing and why. So I've had a really, really great experience, and you know, I hope that all other apprentices have that experience as well. And I think the thing that attracted me to ITV was like the creativity and the amount of responsibility that I would have and be allowed to have, especially in-house. I mean, in-house, there's like a huge variety of work. So I thought, wow, like the amount of things I could get involved in over the span of 6 years and the amount of departments I could work in, I would qualify, I feel like, the most well-rounded lawyer ever. So that was what attracted me to them.
I think it's so interesting. And I think, yeah, ITV, obviously they are creators. That's what they do. You know, they are bringing creative content to the world, aren't they? So I guess it's the original social media platforms. Kind of what I see TV as.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm gonna come back to apprenticeships in a minute, but I'm really curious about a few things around your blog and the connection with ITV. Not necessarily the connection, but why you didn't start your blog at the start, and when you started it, what was it that triggered it? And then a third question, sorry, I will remind you of these if I can remember them. The third question is, what do they think about your blog?
So I'll start with the most recent question. So I've sort of spoken to my mentor, my managers, and they're so like happy that I'm sort of doing it.
Right,
and
that's good.
They've said, like, you know, go for it. If you want to share your information and help other people, like, this isn't sort of the first time that I've done it. So before this sort of comes on to why I started the blog, over the first 4 years, I would get involved with every event, write every article, do every interview that came my way about apprenticeships, because I was like, this is what I want to do. I want to help other people, and you know, I'm the best person to do it because I'm doing it, and the best person to give advice about it. And I'd go into schools and colleges, and I just thought, because I felt like the best person to do it because I was more relatable to younger people and to people looking to do this route. You know, some lawyer who they have no idea from what firm, or you know, they don't care, they'll come into the school and they'll spout their sort of whatever they say, and the kids will be like, okay, but how does that apply to me? That doesn't help me on a personal level. But I felt as though I could connect with people on a personal level, and because I'm quite open, I sort of would just chat for days about it. And I never thought about starting my blog right at the very beginning. I think because I was just so occupied with everything else that I had going on. I was like, right, this is a massive commitment. You know, I'm 18 years old. This is six years of my life. I'm going to be a qualified lawyer. Let's focus, like, get straight to work, learn everything you can, do your degree, get the best grade you can. You know, like, I was just focused on that end goal, and I didn't think about other opportunities or anything like that I could tap into. But the sort of turning point for that was last summer. I graduated with my law degree and moved into the training phase of the solicitor apprenticeship. So I think at that point I was like, you know what, this is the right time, because I can now document my final 2 years of my apprenticeship, give my views already on the 4 years, everything that I've learned, help other people who are in their first, second, third year. through that, because it, you know, it's difficult at times, help them through that difficult time, and document something that no one's really ever seen before. So I thought that was the right time, and I think I felt secure enough within myself and my experience and knowledge that I felt comfortable sharing it like that and taking on that responsibility. But I never thought that it would be anything sort of, not as big as it has become. I'm not saying it's huge, but it's much bigger than I anticipated. I thought it would be a couple of hundred people, young people. And
what was the moment when you went, I know, when you did that first video or post, how did you feel beforehand?
I was so nervous.
Yeah.
I was so nervous because I was reading what I'd written and I was like, is this how I want to portray myself? Is this genuine? Is it me? Because I didn't want to be that person who, you know, just wrote something generic and,
right.
you know, people would scroll past and be like, oh, another one. You know, I didn't want to be that perfect person, because one, they don't exist, and two, that's not me. So I went over it again and again, and I ended up just drafting a first draft of introducing myself, who I am, what I do, and what I want the blog to be. And I haven't read it since, actually, so I hope that I've actually fulfilled what I did want it to be. And I just posted it and went for it. And I think overnight, I started following all sort of my favourite blogs, and overnight I had like 300 or 400 followers straight away.
That's amazing.
Wow, like people are genuinely interested in this apprenticeship route. So yeah, it just made me really excited, and I think that motivated me then, because I knew that people wanted and needed this information to then go ahead and just start creating all this content. But it's been a learning experience for sure, for someone who has never done anything like this before.
Yeah, I'm really curious about that learning experience as well, because for me, I mean, what I was saying to you, I was talking about reputation before, and I think, well, I'll tell you my thoughts and I'd love to hear yours. I think there's something about the legal profession not wanting to share too much. There's a kind of like, oh, don't want to mention that, shouldn't say that. There's certain things that kind of get put in boxes. Oh, I can't say that. I can say that. Oh, I'll just talk about. And most people I know that therefore in the legal profession are much more willing to talk about specific legal issues because they can't get it wrong. It's almost like I can't get it wrong if I just say that. And I know I felt the same in just doing my first video, and you know, I definitely don't post like you guys do. But for me, it's that sense of like, oh, should I? Oh, the thinking process or the thought process of fear that goes around. And if I did that, then this. But oh, and maybe it wouldn't be. But no, I tell you what, I'll leave it. And that, it's interesting, isn't it? And then we see other people doing, you think, oh yeah, well maybe I should have done that then. Yeah. There's always that element of regret. Is there anything that you have thought, what was I thinking? Why did I do that? Have you? I know Brené Brown talks about the vulnerability hangover, and I love that phrase. Like, have you ever had that vulnerability hangover after you posted something on social media?
You know, I'm not sure. I think I've worried about having that vulnerability hangover and thinking like, oh, am I going to post this and then regret it? And once it's out there, you know, like that fear, because it's real, like that fear is really real. But I haven't actually experienced it. And I think I've spoken, you know, I've been very vulnerable on my Instagram. And if I'm having a hard day, like yesterday, I put up a kind of host of stories saying, you know, I'm having a tough day, and it's not, every day isn't perfect and easy, and I don't just like fly through things. I'm not like so productive every day. But I think that's so important to actually to do that and to share. If I'm going to share my journey, I want to share the good, the bad, the ugly, all of it. I don't want to pretend that it's easy and then influence somebody else to then do the same on that premise, and then they get there and realize actually it's really, really hard work and it's not as easy as it seems, because I'm only showing the perfect side of it and I'm portraying myself as that person. So I think it's really important to me to be vulnerable. And there's been times when I've thought about things and thought, maybe I should, and all of that whole thinking process. But things like talking about mental health is such an important thing. And I've done a post on mental health, and I've struggled with anxiety and things like that. And so many people have. And, you know, a majority of lawyers, if you've seen the sort of these statistics on it, a majority of lawyers have struggled with mental health problems. It's such a difficult profession to be in, and it's so demanding. But yet, why don't we all talk about it? No one shares that. Everyone wants to seem as if they're the strong one, they're perfect, you know. I can work all the hours under the sun, I'm not going to burn out, and if I do, you're not going to know about it because I'm not going to share it with you. So to me, it's really important to share all of that and to be honest, you know, within limits. I'm not going to share anything that's damaging or anything like that, but I want to be honest and open and authentic with my journey.